It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news. This is the Southwest Outdoors Report.
Hi everybody, and welcome into this week's show. And some of the best fishing that our Southwest region has to offer is found in East Texas, and that's where we originate on this week's episode. It's a night fishing adventure at beautiful Purtis Creek State Park. It's a great little fishing lake located just north of Eustis, Texas. Got great facilities, good campsites, good boat launch facilities, a couple of lighted fishing piers, and much more right here at Purtis Creek State Park. And on tonight's show, we've got nearly a full moon up overhead, and that's going to mean some great carp and drum fishing for us. Nah. Just kidding. We're going to go out and experience some of the bass fishing that Purtis Creek has to offer here. It's been about 3 years since I've been here, but I've had some really good bass fishing trips here in past years. Now, while I take the Nitro Z out and experience some of that, we're taking you around our Southwest region for your weekly fishing reports from Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas freshwater, and the Texas and Louisiana Gulf Coast. Also this week on the Lawrence Hot Lake of the Week, I'm going to be showing you a great place to go fishing, do a little river fishing down in South Texas all the way through the fall and even the cold winter months. On this week's Coast to Catch of the Week, we'll show you our weekly big fish photo and much more. It's going to be an exciting half hour. But first, while I get the Nitro Z8 launched into Purtis Creek Lake, we take you back to Julie at the FSN Studios and your weekend plans.
Let's check all the information you'll need for planning a fishing trip this weekend. According to the Solunar tables, you can expect the best fishing conditions of the month to take place on Saturday, along with good conditions on Sunday. It appears peak time Saturday will start mid-morning at 10:40, and Sunday's prime activity will begin at 11:35 a.m. Expect sunrise to take place at 7:11 with sunset happening at 7:23. Also, Saturday is the beginning of a new moon, so we won't have much moonlight in the evenings. We'll be right back with all of your fishing reports from around the Southwest. And I'll have this week's Whataburger Ask the Pro with Bassmaster Elite Angler Shaw Grayson.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Nitro Performance Bass Boats. Fish your best in a Nitro. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. Quality soft plastic baits made in Oklahoma with American pride. By Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. And by Motor Guide Trolling Motors, engineering for anglers.
Got one. Right up against the dam. All right, there's a bass right there to get it started. Hey, welcome back everybody. Your Southwest Outdoors Report is on Purtis Creek Lake doing a little bass fishing, and I started off with one of my favorites, a spinnerbait. And there's a nice little chunky bass right there. And let me tell you a couple of things. I'm gonna put him back. What we've got is a bright moonlit night. In fact, it's almost a full moon, so we got a lot of light out here. Normally I would go with a black spinnerbait, but I went with a chartreuse spinnerbait, got two little Colorado blades on it. And all I'm doing is just fishing real shallow, getting the boat right in next to the dam, throwing it out in front of the bow of the boat and pulling it back in very shallow water. A lot of times these fish, once it gets dark, will push up out of this deep water in front of the dam, push right up on the face of the dam and start feeding. Now, let me get you set up here on Purtis Creek. It's a very small lake, only a few hundred acres. A lot of standing timber in it. If you're gonna crank your big motor at all, you wanna go at idle speed because you will absolutely hit a stump. So you wanna be really, really careful out here. Wear your PFD. You could easily get chunked off in the lake. So idle speed only, lower end of the lake's open. All the upper, probably 2/3 of the lake, solid standing timber. This is a fairly shallow lake, about 20 feet deep out in the creek channel, and most of what you're going to be fishing is anywhere from 5 to 8 feet deep, something like that. All right, we got a bass in the boat to start with, and let's get you started on your regional fishing reports, and let's go to Oklahoma. Here's Gary Dollar.
The Bassmaster Central Open on Fort Gibson Lake last weekend was as informative as it was entertaining. There was a good number of local pros who fished the tournament, as well as a number of elite anglers. Those elite guys were still trying to get one of those last Bassmaster Classic berths for Grand Lake coming up this next February. Oklahoma's Jason Christie, who's been really hot this year, won the tournament. He had almost 41 pounds. Most of his fish came on a Rebel We Are crankbait and a Yum Woolly Beaver. Second place was Kevin Short. Kevin said that a good number of his fish came on a small topwater prop bait fished extremely shallow. Fourth place was Tommy Biffle. Tommy used his traditional hardhead and biffle bug for all of his catches during the tournament. What most of the guys reported that the fish were coming from extremely shallow water. They were either fishing rocky points or all the way back into the backs of the creeks or the back of the pockets fishing isolated pieces of wood. And I'm getting that same type of report from Grand Lake and Hudson Lake, as well as some other waters. Now, Clayton Coppin had the biggest fish of the tournament, a 6.10 pounder. He caught it on the new LaRue Rattling Crawler, so we were happy to see that catch. Clayton did a great job in the tournament. Now, the fishing right now in Oklahoma is going to continue to get better as they go through this transition stage. We're getting really close to these water temperatures getting down there cooler. That happens, there's going to be a lot more fish activity going on. You're going to see some schooling activity going on as these fish start to move into those fall patterns. One thing about it, you can't catch them if you don't go.
Here's the question for you. When the weather starts cooling off in the fall and even gets cold in the winter, where can you go and still have a great chance to catch fish in our region? The answer, the Guadalupe River in south central Texas below the Canyon Lake Dam. And I'll tell you about it on the Lowrance Hot Lake of the Week. So let's locate it for you on the Lowrance HDS10, and you can see it's located between I-35 and US 281 west of San Marcos, Texas. Now we're going to zoom in to locate the dam of Canyon Lake. Here, you can access the river right at the tail race below the dam if you'd like. And there are several miles of good fishable waters running southeast towards San Marcos. It's one of the few places where there's a catchable population of our Texas state fish, the Guadalupe bass, and the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department stocks rainbow trout at several points along the river during the winter months. Now, you will need a kayak, a canoe, or a raft to access and float these waters because there are a lot of shallow areas that a full-size boat will not make it over. And there are several access points, and you can check those out at the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department website. The Guadalupe River, south central Texas, this week's Lowrance Hot Lake of the Week. Stay with us. When we come back, Cajun Phil and Kevin will have your Louisiana fishing and lake reports for the week, and I'll have more fishing from Purtis Creek State Park in East Texas. Bite. Got him. Worm bass. Hope it's a bass. Should be on a plastic worm. Good bite too. Here he is. There you go. Up you come, baby. All right. Hey, I got one on a worm. Welcome back, everybody. We're on Purtis Creek, your SOR, on the road in East Texas. And catching a few bass. This is a good bass lake. There are some big bass in this lake, by the way. 8, 9 pounds is not uncommon to catch in this lake, but we're just catching some 2-pounders like that today. We'll let that one go back tonight. All right, and there's that Jean LaRue 8-inch plastic worm right there. Use a dark color at night. Let me tell you how we're fishing now. Started off fishing that spinnerbait right up against the dam. So now what I've done is I've moved out in the timber, and I want to show you a couple of quick shots here with a spotlight of what some of this timber looks like. But what we're trying to do is stay on the edge of the open fields, cast into the edge of the timber and bring it back out. In the daytime, it's real critical, especially in the hotter weather, that you throw right up next to those stumps and right in those treetops. But at night, those fish will pull back and migrate away from the stumps, away from the trees, and move into these open fields. And that's how that one bit on a plastic worm. Okay, let's move along, get some more fishing reports for you. Let's check in with Cajun Phil and Kevin over in Louisiana.
Hi friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox Louisiana Fishing Report. Well, I tell you what, last week, if you remember, I told you that I was going to contact a lot of our guides, a lot of our lodges, find out what's going on in the state. I talked to Captain Tofil Bourgeois down in Lafitte, Louisiana. Tofil says, Cajun, I tell you what, he said our our lodge way out in the marsh. He said that thing right now is pretty messed up. It's going to come in last as far as us fixing it up and getting it going. But he said the big old lodge right there in Lafitte, Louisiana, the bottom floor had 3 to 4 foot of water. They lost a lot of stuff. But you know what? Tofield said we're going to be back up and running in just a few weeks, and he will keep us in touch on what's going on as far as Lafitte, Louisiana. Down in Delacroix, I talked to Captain Jack. Sweetwater Marina is still there. The lodging is still good because it was way up high off the ground. They did lose one of their set of stairs. They're going to rebuild that, get that back up going. Captain Jack said it won't be long. They're going to be back on the water catching fish. Over on Shell Beach and Hopedale, I tell you what, lots of destruction there. Matter of fact, right now in the Shell Beach, Hopedale area, there's lots of boats up on the highways. They're up against the bridges, lots of sunken boats. You can see them in the marsh. Tell you what, it's going to be a while before Shell Beach and Hopedale is back up and running, but they will do it. They'll be back up catching lots of fish. Tell you what, went over to Venice, Louisiana, talked to those folks down there. They're pretty good. The water's dropping really good. They did have water in a lot of places, a lot of lodges and camps were destroyed, but they're going to build that right back up too. Over in Houma, Louisiana, I talked to Bill Lake. Captain Bill Lake said, not a whole lot of damage there, a lot of water and a lot of camps and all that. All that can be replaced, and they're going to be back up and running too. Fedora, about the only place right now we can really say is any good here is on the western part of the state. We hate to say it, but Captain Kevin Broussard, after 28 years of guiding for other people, right now he's running his own place called Cajun Paradise Lodge and Charter.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. By Lowrance and the all-new HDS Gen 2 with structure map overview. By Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability. By Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. By Whataburger, proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, right stuff, low price, every day.
I know you're out there. I saw you. I saw you. Got him. It worked. Let's see what that is. School it out there. What is it? Straight down. It's a white bass. And a big one too. Oh, yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't do that. All right. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Purtis Creek Lake nighttime fishing. And if you fish long enough, some of everything will happen, and I can say that I've never seen that before. Going to put that big white bass back in the lake, and I'm going to keep the trolling motor from letting me drift in here. And I want to tell you what's going on here. Been doing some bass fishing the edges of these fields, and I kept hearing some fish actually blowing up. And I mentioned that it's a real bright night. The moon is out really bright, really full. And I kept hearing something splashing on top of the water. And I'm thinking, surely that can't be a bass or even a white bass chasing shad. But just to be safe, I pulled out a little Bobby Garland slab slayer, black color, that I always keep out for my nighttime fishing on a little spinning rod. Threw it out there where I heard those splashes, and sure enough, it's white bass actually chasing bait fish on the top out here in the dark. And it's just so bright that I can actually see my bait hit the water. I can see the stumps without any light. It's pretty amazing once your eye adjusts to what's out here, what you can actually see. So, a lot of good species of fish in this lake. Let's check on the rest of our Texas Fishing and Lake reports. Here's Brian Hughes.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Brian Paul Custom Guitars. Now, not only can Brian build you a guitar, but he has a class where you can learn to build custom guitars yourself. And when the class ends, you will have built your very own custom electric guitar. Now, let's check in on Cooper Lake, which used to be known for largemouth bass. It produced a lot of big fish when it first opened, and then that reputation went by the wayside because the hybrids came on. It is now one of the state's premier hybrid fisheries, and as these cool fronts come through, the hybrid striper fishing is only going to get better. Look in the clear area away from the timber and fish deep. If you go to Texas Parks and Wildlife's website, they even have waypoints that'll show you where you can find these fish. More importantly, follow the bait fish. That's where the hybrids will be. Drop your jigging spoons, drop your live bait. You'll catch plenty of hybrids on Cooper. For bass, go on up into the timber and fish swim baits in about 10 to 15 feet of water. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Brian Paul Custom Guitars. Be sure and click on my picture on the website for more Lone Star Lakes. Let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit the website on the screen. Well, the forecast by some of an early fall may come to pass, but it is not going to change our fishing immediately, at least not this coming weekend. The cool front that moved through was an early reminder that air and water temperatures will moderate over the next few weeks. Until then, anglers along the middle and lower coast will continue to see the deep bite being the best option. On the upper coast, Sabine and Galveston will also have a deep bite. Until water temperatures drop into the upper 70s, specs will remain around deeper reefs, well pads, and channels. And then once they make their move, it'll be a vertical one, and fishing may get tough with fish suspended until they make their next move toward grassy shorelines or around spoil islands. This weekend, the 4th annual Take Me Outdoor Festival is set for Saturday, September 15th in downtown Houston at Discovery Green from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. The free family-oriented outdoor event will feature hands-on opportunities, booths, and exhibits for folks to experience the great outdoors. Also this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Bass, be a bass. Yeah. No, it's a white bass. All right, that's all right. One big white bass. How about that? All right. Well, Purtis Creek has got several different species of fish, and it's going to get better and better as we head into these fall months. The water cools off. The water temperature is about 84 degrees right now. Still plenty warm. Once it starts breaking down through the 70s, bass are going to get real active, and it's going to be a lot better all around our region.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Mercury, the official outboard of the Southwest Outdoors Report for 10 years running. By Excite, start positive, stay positive. By Lou's Reels and Rods, feel the difference. And by Onyx Personal Flotation Devices and Rainwear, keeping you safe on the water.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for our Whataburger Ask the Pro. This week's question is from Terry in Dallas, who asks, does the amount of bearings in a bait cast reel make a difference? For the answer, we ask Bassmaster Elite Angler Shaw Grigsby.
When you buy a bait cast reel, you can buy them with, very few bearings, 2, 3, 4, 5 bearings, all the way up to 11 ball bearings. And what that does is it supports the drive shaft. So the more ball bearings you have, the more support you have, which means basically it can handle heavier loads and it'll work a little smoother. Now when you get up to those real high ball bearings like 11, then they start putting them in to the ball bearings on the handles, which just make that smoother. So if you spin the handle, you can see even the little paddle on the handle spins very, very freely. So what that does, that creates a very smooth reel, which gives you a very good feel. And if you have a reel that's smooth, you can feel more of what your bait's doing, catch a few more fish. So you make the choice whether you want low ball bearings or a lot of ball bearings, and I like a lot of ball bearings.
Thank you, Shaw. If you have a question for one of the pros, just visit our website at southwestoutdoorsreport.com, follow the Ask the Pro link, and submit your information. Now back to Barry with our Costa Catch of the Week.
We're back at the boat ramp at Purtis Creek State Park after a great night's fishing, and it's time right now for someone to win a free pair of Costa sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week. He is Robert Ward of Austin, Texas, and look at this. He is showing a 10-pound, 8-ounce largemouth bass he caught out of Town Lake right in the city limits of Austin, Texas. Can you believe that? Robert wins his choice of any pair of Costa sunglasses, and you can see the entire line of Costas at their website, and all you do is go to our website at southwestoutdoorsreport.com. At the bottom of the front page, click on the Costa link and you'll get to their website where you can see all of the frame styles and lenses, including this month's Frame Style of the Month, Switchfoot. So, if you would like to enter your Big Fish in Hour contest, all you do is go to southwestoutdoorsreport.com. You will need to join and become a member of our fan club. It is free, and you might have your fish seen on our show and on our website. And as always, next up is our Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff feature, the right gear for your next fishing trip. And if you live in the state of Texas, the right gear for your next trip should be in your very own wallet. It's your brand new annual fishing and or hunting license for the state of Texas. Your old one expired on August 31st, so before you go fishing again, be sure to get your new fishing license or your combo license with hunting. Of course, they are available right now at all Academy Sports and Outdoors stores across our Southwest region. Hey, be sure to catch our show next week. We'll be on Thursday night, and you can always catch our show on the front page of the website 24/7, latest episode right there at southwestoutdoorsreport.com. And while you're there, you can link to the YouTube channel where you can get all the past episodes of our show. And while you're there, you can link to our Facebook page where you'll get lots of content that you'll never see here on the TV show, including videos, photos, and lots of fishing news and information that you won't want to miss. From Purtis Creek Lake, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes saying, be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.